Okay, good morning everyone. Hopefully everybody is doing fantastic. You're able to hear me? Good morning Suraj, good morning Victor, good morning Shraddha, good morning everyone. Are you guys having problem in voice? Is it coming now also? हाँ एक मिनट. Good morning. Is it still doing echo? I will reset everything. Is it fine now? Are you getting echo now? Okay. Guys, let us see. This is the best. I mean, I think that there's some issue with the network. I mean, so We'll continue where we stop. I mean, where we are supposed to begin. Guys, in your preparation, when you are preparing for your UPSC exam, three things become extremely important for you: ethics, essay, optional. Ethics, essay, and optional. These three things are extremely important when you are preparing for UPSC. The thing is, in our papers, GS, everybody writes general studies. It's not even me. Everybody writes general studies, and everybody writes the first four, GS 1, 2, 3, 4. The uniqueness or the specialness about GS is that on an average you score only one thing. It is only your optional essay and ethics which ends up giving you an advantageous position. Over GS. Particularly with optional. Now, most of you know that this is compulsory. There will be two papers. In general sense, 4 parts. Guys, before you choose an optional, there are certain preconditions. Number 1. The subject itself. It completely depends on if you like the subject or if you don't like the subject. It's extremely important in optional for you to keep a focus on if you like it or if you don't like it. The second part is the material or content. Availability of material or availability of content. The third part is the faculty. When you are choosing an optional, it's extremely important you take a checklist of this. You have to keep a track of what you are learning or what you are trying to learn. It becomes extremely important with your optional. Okay, you choose the right subject, you choose the right material, and you choose the right faculty. For example, see, with the subject, a lot of things depend on this. See, some of you may like history, some of you may like polity, some of you may like geography, some of you may like economy. Your liking of the subject is important. This is where most students tend to do one of their first mistakes in choosing an optional. They choose on the basis of advice. Please, for God's sake, don't choose an optional based on advice. कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता if somebody tells you that this option is that and that option is this. Yes. And second thing, this is a scoring optional, that is not a scoring optional, is actually simply nonsense. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. There is nothing called scoring optional or non-scoring optional. It's a simple logic. There is nothing called scoring optional or non-scoring optional. This is all just a rumor. Okay. See, there is another side of the market which is actually trying to sell you a particular subject. So market tries to tell you that yes, like for example, over the last 3-4 years, everybody is going fuss about one optional. I mean, a particular optional. Let us not take the name. A particular optional which somebody got first rank or somebody got second rank, and then everybody wants to take that optional. He knows it. He doesn't know it. कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. Everybody wants to take it. And I'll tell you I'll tell you one example. If more number of students write an optional, then because the number of people writing becomes high, the grading happens, the scaling happens, just like how it happens in CAT. Like this is what happened with PubAd, public administration. Too many people write PubAd. Too many people. So the range of marks in public administration goes from really top to really low. Now everybody is going for anthro. I mean, it makes no sense to why somebody wants to take an anthro in the first place. I mean, they don't even know the syllabus. They just, first and foremost, you need to take his advice. Liking of the subject. You need to love the subject. Second thing, know the syllabus. The third is overlap with GS. These three are extremely important. These three are extremely important. You need to first like the subject. You need to have a kind of liking or a passion for the subject. Say, for example, I've told this many times. I really love history, but somehow I don't like geography. So even if somebody tells me that geography is like superstar optional, pura mark milega, sab kuch milega, I won't take geography. I know, because I'll never be able to do justice for geography. The second thing is syllabus. You need to know the syllabus. The third option is the overlap with GS. And what percentage of optional overlaps with GS? See, for example, the traditional optionals like history, geography, economy, sociology, political science, public administration. These have overlap with a lot of GS papers. These have a lot of overlap with GS papers. So that needs to be extremely important. Yes, Manisha, I will take history option. Liking for the subject, know the syllabus of the subject, then overlap with GS. Once you are done with these three, then check for the material. See, in optional, depth is more important. One thing let me tell you for you guys, you're not studying optional to write your university exam. This is not your university exam optional, subject. So here it is not just about reading a book and answering the question. It is not that. Everybody gets, you can say, confused with that. It's not just about just reading a textbook and writing an optional. Aisani, this is depth. You need to have better understanding and analysis. Very, very important when you're studying optional. You need to have a very good understanding and understanding as well as depth in the content. Then second part is, I suggest to students to read core books. Ready-made materials must be used as add-on. Ready-made materials must be read as add-on. Okay. Then comes the third biggest issue, which is the availability of faculty. See, optional is a journey. You need to have a faculty, and for this, either for mentoring or classes. You need to have the faculty. For example, there are optionals like computer science, there are options like medical science. There are very few faculties, even if they are not really actually UPSC faculties. For example, your optional mathematics optional. Not many faculties teach mathematics optional. Mathematics for UPSC. I again tell this to students a lot. It is not about your graduation. It doesn't matter what is your graduation. It doesn't help. I mean, just because you did graduation में mathematics or graduation में economics, it doesn't make sense. You want to just take it here. You need to make sure you have the right faculty and available faculty till then. And there are some other important things. See, optional preparation is not a one-time show. जैसे if you start studying, suppose you write 2020, God forbid, unfortunately, if you didn't get through, then you will read 2021, then you will write 2021, then you will write 2022. So जैसा भी हो जो भी हो, you will prepare optional. There are some optionals which actually help you in getting a safe from this. Like for example, the static optionals. The static optionals give you a shortcut. एक बार पढ़ लिया तो पढ़ लिया. That's it. You don't have much to do the second time. Now, what are the most common optionals that students tend to choose nowadays? PABAN, Pol Science, History, Geography, Sociology, Anthro, Literature. These are the most common optionals. See, I am not suggesting you which optional to take. I leave that choice totally to you. I mean, uska to pura, the complete choice is yours. But make sure before you take the final decision of an optional, you go through the syllabus of these. Try to analyze it with GS syllabus. See which all have a direct link with GS syllabus. See, of these subjects, geography is static, history is static, literature is static. These three are static. So, I mean, what I mean by static is they don't change. Like for example, history optional. You studied this year. There's nothing which changes the next year. So once it is static, the questions also repeat. Questions also. These are the popular optionals. Ramsey, economy is not a high demand optional. I mean, there are not much faculties available. And guys, it is all interlinked to each other. Only if enough faculties are there, students will take the optional. Only if students take, there will be enough material available. I mean, I don't want to sound wrong, but a publisher will publish a book only when there is a demand. Ganda hai par dhanda hai. Publisher, any publisher, it doesn't matter, will only publish a material if there is enough demand. और जब demand तभी आएगा when students take it. It's a simple logic. नहीं मिलेगा. Komal, वही तो, that is always the problem. Komal, the problem is, that is actually the problem. Because there is not many students who take economics optional. Anchal, with management, I've not seen much students available with this. Political science is extremely dynamic. So political science specialty is it is dynamic. So if you love this subject, it's a very you can say advantages because if you be in touch with current affairs, if you be in touch with GS on a regular basis, current affairs particularly, one full paper for them is current affairs only, international relations. Then this is basically the things to choose. So before you choose an optional, make sure you know the subject itself very well. Then make sure the material or content is very well, the faculty is very well. Now, demyths. Let me clear some myths. Number one. For example, just now as you're saying, with history, people say their syllabus is very vast. I don't even know how it is vast because history optional syllabus and GS syllabus is 90% same. You add only 10% for optional. If you read for GS, how would not read for optional? I mean, that logic I never understood. I mean, that logic I never understood. How can you end up taking a subject and history cannot be vast? History has a limited period, 3000 BC to 2019 AD. I mean, it is fixed. The era is fixed, no? How can the syllabus be vast? With political science, for example, they say it is too dynamic. When you are reading current affairs for your GS, that is what you are going to implement as current affairs even for pol science. So, current affairs doesn't change. It's going to stay the same. And third part, that he took I can say, grass is green myth. The grass is green on the other side of the fence. ये जो myth है ना, this must be first stopped. Just because somebody scored some score in some optional, it does not mean you will also get the same. Understand this very well. Just because some Shetty guy did some superstar rank in some optional, you're not going to make it superstar. Just because optional preparation is same regardless of the subject. Optional is regardless the subject. Anchal, I don't know. By एक बार form submit कर दिया, then you will have to accept that option. You can't submit, you can't change. The next year you can, but generally you can't. And the fourth is, see, in my experience, I've seen this. In my experience, I've seen this with a lot of people. Students tend to change optional year on year. I mean, just like how they change their t-shirt, they change their optionals. ये गलत है. ये गलत है. Once you've invested, I mean, look, see, suppose you've taken an optional. You've decided on the optional strategy. You've studied for it. Suppose you put 3 or 4 months on it. You wrote the exam also. After spending 3 to 4 months on optional, you write an exam. Ideally, don't change. I generally suggest to students, not to go through this optional changing phenomena. Once you've studied, once you've invested your capital and your money on it, don't try to change the option. Don't try to do this 1 year public administration. I know a student who did 1 year PubAd, 1 year political science, and 1 year geography. Now he's nowhere. Now he is nowhere. And then 3. Every optional has a challenge. Every optional has both a challenge and an opportunity. And always remember, a challenge itself is the opportunity. Got it? Always a challenge itself is the opportunity. For example, static optionals, dynamic optionals. Static optionals are those which deal only with a subject like geography, history, literature, these. The static optionals have certain benefits and certain negatives. In general sense, they are very dry, but they need only one-time investment. एक बार पढ़ लिया तो पढ़ लिया, जॉब डन. बार बार करने की जरूरत नहीं. And generally these stay away from current affairs, current issues directly. Dynamic optionals are like your pole science, PubAd, and sociology, anthropology, your economy, these kind of stuff. The problem with these is they have extremely vast syllabus, because you need to do static plus dynamic. Dynamic is your current affairs part plus your core subjects. Why not? Like for example, take PubAd. Take some example, PubAd and political science. You need to know polity, you need to know governance, you need to know political issues which are happening currently in the country, you need to know what are the governance issues which are happening in the country. Everything chale, everything karna padega. Latest laws, latest constitutional amendment, the constitutional amendment challenges. Like for example, CIA can be itself a big issue in political science. Now, as I say, this can be both a challenge as well as opportunity. Opportunity because if you do preparation better than your competitor, then you have a challenge, you have a chance of getting a higher mark in optional. And at any cost, never negotiate with optional. When I say never negotiate is, you have no choice of, I will not read this. I mean, you can't just go into an optional and say, मैं ये नहीं पढ़ूंगा, मैं वो नहीं पढ़ूंगा. It doesn't work that way. That's why I told you the first requirement of an optional is you need to have a liking for the subjects. If you don't like the subject, then don't get it. And how will you get the liking of the subject? First know the syllabus. For static, they won't come, no. Rupa, in static syllabus like history, They may ask you a particular event which happened about a king, but they'll never ask you about the king. They'll ask you about the king itself, but not a direct question from current affairs. Suppose in political science, they may ask you directly about the impacts of CAA or NRC, or how they impact NRC. What are the current features of one? For example, in 100th Constitutional Amendment Act 2015, political science IR paper. Like that, they may ask you directly. But in history, they won't. History, they may use that to ask a topic, a subject or a topic. Never negotiate in optional. Read in full. The second thing is answer writing. Writing makes perfect. Only writing makes one perfect. Only writing makes one perfect. Okay? Right, in the end, it's your decision. They say no. A right decision is half the victory in battle. Right decision is half the victory in battle. Yes, that's what, guys. You, Mariam, Ranpreet. Who told Rohit Sai? It's starting. I mean, maths option still has papers and solutions which needs to be done now. Correct? From my side, I can only tell you about a history option. This I teach. Number one, it has very defined syllabus. It is a completely repeated paper. It has a lot of repeated questions. Finite time. And most scoring for your GS1. Because it is 100% GS1. Plus also your parts in GS3, GS2. Administration and economy, maybe you get a lot of overlap. Even in administration and economy, you get a lot of overlaps. Okay. Come August, I will be launching a history optional class. But guys, personally, it is my view. I don't suggest students to take any optional. Because this is my view. I'm generally afraid because, personally, I'm very afraid because at the end of the day, guys, optional is your decision. It is you who has to live with the optional. So I generally suggest to students, and please, for God's sake, don't discuss optionals with students. Don't try to discuss options with your co-compatriots. What have you taken? I am taking this, you also take this. All that nonsense, don't do that because that actually creates more trouble. Don't come under influence of anybody when you are taking an optional study or optional class. I only give the entire material for history. I'll give a manual. I'll give you a manual, a single book. I only handwritten manual, I only give. Having said that, let us end this session here, guys. And as I said, 3 things: your liking of the subject, the material for the subject, the faculty for the subject are the 3 things which you must make sure before you decide on optional. Manish, I will start from August. No, I'll only start. No, Manish, I'll only start. Liking of the subject, material for the subject, and faculty of the subject. These 3 are extremely important. Make sure you do this and go through the syllabus. Any optional, it doesn't matter. Go through the syllabus. Don't take a decision before you go through the syllabus. For those who are still having confusion with optional, ping me on Telegram. On Telegram, you can search me as R. Kondala. Ping me there. I'll directly discuss with you. You can also ping me at just 1 second. I'll give you another link for direct contact. You can also ping me on 8919321688. This is my other number. You can directly ping me there. I'll talk with you. Or N Kondala. R. Kondala or N Kondala. You can ping me there. I'll talk to you directly. Any doubts you have, I'll only clear. If you still have confusion with optionals. Thank you guys. You have a nice day. I will see you in my special classes. Bye bye.